Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video right here on XRP. We're going to do a full update on XRP. We'll talk about the technicals, we'll talk about the fundamentals, we'll talk about, in general, everything I think you need to know going into next week, right? So that's relatively short term. We're not talking about the long term. I mean, long term, I could talk a little bit more about that as well if you want to, so let me know. But ultimately, long term, the major question is still, can XRP reclaim this level at 2.8, right? But that's by far the most important level we really need to reclaim if we still want to see a move into 3.4, if we still want to see a move into 4 and 4.5, which I made a video at the start of this year in January when the price was right here at 2.4, and there I said, okay, I think $4, 4.5, that's my yearly price target. And that is still a possibility, but you know, the window in which we could still reclaim 2.8 is decreasing. And the longer we spend back into this range right here, which we've been in from December 2024 until July 2025, the more it becomes reality. And if we're stuck in that range again, the long-term structure for XRP, at least technically, is much more bearish. But let me know if you want to know a little bit more about that. I mean, I spoke about that quite a bit. But okay, so the price action so far for XRP this weekend has been relatively quiet. There's been quite a lot of volume and momentum, I suppose, in the general markets, but not specifically for XRP. This morning, I saw a glimpse of XRP and XLM, which is very correlated to XRP. I saw a glimpse of them outperforming the markets, but that's not the case right now. I mean, it's very much Bitcoin right here, and XRP is very much moving in tandem with Bitcoin, but then a little bit weaker because the Bitcoin dominance is increasing. And that's also reflected in the volume. There's no excessive volume. There's no leverage coming into the price. So purely technically, I think it's most likely for XRP to expect stability. And then what I mean with stability is price action between 2.59, which is the local resistance level with the value area high. It's a respected intraday level and the 7-day rolling VWAP. Quite strong. And then we have the main support level right here with the previous month point of control, but also the point of control of the price action since the 10th of October. The crash right here at 2.42. So that's the range in which I expect stability. And then because the liquidity for XRP over the course of this weekend at least, but it happens quite often in the weekends, because of that low liquidity, I expect volatility within that stability. And I know that sounds incredibly, I know that sounds like an incredible paradox, but what I mean with that is, okay, we have the boundaries set, right? And ultimately we want to break out between either of these two levels. But within that area, there's some imbalances that I think need to be cleared up. And I think the circumstances are good enough to clear those up. So a spike down into 2.45, a spike up into this level right here, potentially at 2.62 before retracing. That is what I would expect short term for XRP. That's nothing meaningful. It's very hard to trade that. I mean, you could set a short limit at 2.62, but I'd argue that's a little bit risky. A long limit at 2.45, I'm more a fan of, to be fair. Because even though this is what I expect, and this is not very eventful, right? I do think, and I'm thinking about this quite a lot when I'm analyzing XRP. Like, I'm not fully convinced that the XRP ETF is fully priced in. It's look, if you look at the price action right now, it's at the same levels as it was December and January 2025 and December 2024, of course. And I think the fundamentals have meaningfully improved for XRP. So it doesn't make much sense to me that XRP would not break out or that the ETF is fully priced in. And I also think, and this is something I'm not sure a lot of people are thinking about, but I also think that when we're talking about potential ETF inflows, like we've seen with only the Bitwise Solana ETF, that the inflows are pretty major. All right, and then if you have those inflows on XRP, which is at times quite illiquid, I think that can have an outsized return on the price. But there's no sign or there's no proof of that in the price right now, right? So that's why I'm telling you short term, I think this is more likely and this is what to expect. But fundamentally, I'm getting more and more interested in a potential bullish breakout because of the ETF coming in. But I'll keep you updated on that. Like I said, there's nothing actionable about that right now. So that also makes it hard to really talk about or predict anything based on for now. But I did want to say that here at the end of the video. But those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you all in my next videos. Take care and bye.